So welcome back to yet another educative content on yoga. Today we'll be talking with comparison with the exercise, because a lot of you have asked me what is the difference between yoga and exercise. Well, there is a lot of things which we need to understand. So moving on to it, well, I have tried to explain you in very ways. People have been under this. For weight loss, what is the correct way of doing yoga? So yoga is not just for weight loss. There is a lot of things which we need to discuss apart from weight loss. So what is the basis of yoga and exercises? See, yoga is basically for your physical, mental and spiritual activity. Whereas exercise is a very unidirectional of losing weight or target oriented, where you are getting things done at a certain given amount of time. When I say target, it has to have a specific amount of duration. Whereas yoga, I use the term goal because that can be shifted up or down. So goal orientation is basically to understand the essence of it. So yoga, when I say, it's a very much into not just weight loss but also better health, because yoga is putting your mind and thoughts together and trying to get best out of it, whereas exercise is very much objective in nature. So there are different ways of doing in yoga. There is only one way in doing in exercise, where you have to sweat along. So when I try to compare them on a scientific weighing scale, exercise is more like hardcore training. It is fast. Because of its fastness, you don't have elasticity but have an increased muscle tension. And because of the muscle tension increase, you have high risk of injury. And you have to put a lot of effort in getting your fit muscles and fit body, because of which your breathing is very erratic, and that leads to sympathetic dominance. Sympathetic dominance can be easily stated as being high on your body, not on your highness on the other way. High in the body means all the physiological variabilities are higher. Probably we'll talk on physiological variabilities also in the near future. But as yoga is very much awareness oriented, breath oriented, slow and rhythmic process, which is improving your elasticity, which improves your flexibility, because of which there's a lot of muscle relaxation, and muscle strength is also there without giving much of an injury to your tissue. It is a non-competitive nature, because of which it gives you a kind of parasympathetic dominance of relaxation. So technically you cannot compare. You cannot even have what kind of a practice of yoga can also lead to good exercise regime. As I said in my earlier video, that yoga is and was never developed for exercise rhythmic movements. Pattabhi Jois was the person who first brought in the dynamic movements in your yoga. He brought in the gymnasm in yoga because to please the kings or the vadayars of Mysore. So that is the reason why you can never have competitive spirit in yoga. Yogic competitions are different, but you cannot compete with yourself and pushing your body to get a result out of it, because it is not that kind of a result oriented. For my yogic practices, I need your body, mind and the presence of your intelligence in getting things done for you. So probably weight loss on a short-term course, exercise is good. Weight loss on a long-term course with understanding and no recurrence, yoga is good. So as a result, yoga slows the body function, but it enhances focus and attention without any restrictions in the practice. But whereas exercise is a target oriented, we have age categories, we have body structures, and we have training manuals specifically put out to specific people. In exercise, if you try to discontinue, there are two things. One is you have to restart the protocol again. You cannot just jump into it. At the same time, you're having withdrawals. You have pains and aches returning. You have that belly coming out even after doing a lot of regimen without being into exercise. That doesn't happen in yoga, because yoga is not a disconnect. Even if you stop doing yoga, the elasticity will be maintained. Only thing is it has to be given a little bit of push to it. But you are just changing the way of doing things. You might have remembered that yoga is not just a way of getting yourself cured. It is a way of life in itself. So you are just moving from one part to the other part. because of which there is a low risk of injury in yoga and a very high risk of injury in your exercise. That is the reason why this question even triggered me 5 years back when I was into a research program also. I was a junior research fellow in one of the institute, in Prestige Yoga Institute. As a lead person, I tried to get exercise regime, because many people have been asking me exercise and yoga onto a same platform. So that is the reason why I went on to a lot of research, and it struck me that there is already a regime which the American Heart Association put forth. So you can see in this chart, for at least 7 days of a week, 30 minutes if you dedicate every day for an intensive or aerobic activity for 5 days, and then the remaining 2 days you go for a high intensive activities for 40 minutes, this can take care of your cardiac health. So there is a statement which the American Heart Association has put forth. So here onto your sides you have an exercise zones and beats per minute. So body is actually doing its activity. Okay, you exaggerate it, it goes to somewhere around 50 to 60%. So that is moderate activity where you maintain the heart. So all your loosings and warm-ups come here. Those who are into exercise, they will be understanding what I am actually telling. Then you go for a little bit of intensive training or a little bit of fitness training where you push and pull and all those things, and push-ups and pull-ups, they come into this kind of a fat burning training where your heart exaggerates a little bit more stress on itself. When the heart puts more pressure, the cardiac output also increases. So this is basically a chart which says that how heart is reacting to your exercises. So this cardiac activities, or such as cardiovascular health activities, are more focused on to your aerobic activity as such, or aerobic area as such, which we commonly call as cardio or endurance exercises. It might be 5 days of regular cardio, which includes your treadmills, your jumping jacks and all those things. Even if you consider them as one of the parts of it, then yes, it increases your heart output and increases the rate at which your heart is beating to 70 to 80% in a bracket as such. So what was I doing there in the research was, I was trying to devise, or I was trying to bring onto a platform where I can use the aerobic content for enduring a kind of a training for yoga as such. No matter what you do, no matter how you do, no matter what all instruments you use, I was surprised, none of them, even doing 108 Surya Namaskaras and doing in a quick successions, I couldn't increase my heart rate for more than 60% of its beats per minute. That is, I cannot push my heart to function more than 60%, which was using all the instruments, which was using all the things. I couldn't use or push my heart's function to probably a little bit of more extent. That came to my understanding that yoga was never, or yoga will never be utilizing heart as a machine to induce energy. So it is always to maintain myself. Yoga is not for weight control. Yoga is not for cardiac training. Yoga is not for hardcore training. Yoga is to maintain your body. Yoga is to make sure that you use some of these techniques to make sure that body has its own way of looking into it. So this is a kind of perspective which we comes out of the study which I could do it. No matter how many Surya Namaskaras you do in 30 minutes, no matter how much topsy-turvy asanas you do in a minute or for 30 minutes, none of them are actually going for a longer duration to increase your heart rate. So if you don't increase your heart rate, then the metabolic activity will not increase, because the more heart beats, the more metabolic activity happens in your system. So that gives us an idea, whatever happens, no matter how much you do, you cannot increase your heart rate, especially during yoga. The reason why is you are involved in breathing. You are involved in your posture. You are involved in many things when you are actually doing yoga. It is not just you are erratically doing something. As I said before, erratic breathing will not help you in gaining your goals or targets. But as a short term, if you are feeling like in next 3 months I have to lose your weight, no matter what happens, then exercise is good. Okay, so never compare or never try to put yoga and exercise in the same basket. It is not going to yield you results. Yoga is more oriented for the self, fitness or else exercise is more pushed towards something as a target oriented machine. So never try to compare yoga and exercise into one chart. So this was an exercise which gave me a reality check on thinking, and that is the reason why I keep on thinking about what was the reason why people are today doing dynamic yoga. Even though you do dynamic yoga, you are going to just lose your weight, or it will be somewhere around fitness training or fat burning, but definitely it cannot go up to what American Heart Association wants you to do. Is it good or bad? That is a different question. American Heart Association gave this kind of a thing because they thought that people are eating too much. So because of that, the fat deposition is happening on their arteries. My question is here. If your willingness to understand food and if your willingness to understand the percentage of food which you're going to eat, then there is no question about lipid plaques floating around in your bloodstream. So the question has to be rephrased rather than getting an answer for all your, dirty tricks. You eat too much, you go to a gym, you burn too much. That is not going to happen, or that is not the right way of fitness. Fitness is you don't eat unnecessary foods. At the same time, you don't push your body to that an extent. Eating and exercising is like pushing your body onto both the extremes. You gobble up too much of food, store in your kidneys and livers and your skin and your muscles, then go to gym, burn this out. Not the right way of burning the machine as such. So best way is you don't eat too much than what is required. You can do fasting, you can do yoga. At the same time, you are not pushing much of an intensivity on the practices also. Exercise is very important. I am not telling exercise is not to be done, but exercise should be only for maintenance of your heart, maintenance of your system, rather than exposing and having a bad effect onto the other system. This exposure is what actually going to hurt you on a long run. So my take on this is be aware of your activities. Whether you are exercising, whether you are doing any intensive activity, see to it that you don't exaggerate your heart, you don't exaggerate your body, because exercise on a long run is not going to yield much results. There is a way where you can actually reach to a plateau. Then there is nothing which your body can actually give it to you. You will have lots of aches and pains. So if you still want to be in this exercise regime, stop going to gymming and start doing something like probably cycling and swimming. Because if you do more of a cycling and swimming, it's again taking the entirety of your body. Cycling is better than walking because it doesn't give much problems to your knees. But at least do some activity. Today people are not doing activity. So these discussions can be taken on to a next step. So first start giving 30 minutes of your day-to-day activity for some kind of a regime. So it can be walking, it can be brisk walk, it can be yoga, it can be cycling, it can be swimming. Which is best, we'll talk later. But at least today, try to have some activity in your day-to-day life. So that is the reason why I say yoga is more like a lifestyle. You cannot compare a lifestyle to another kind of a product. So you do whatever it is, from morning waking up at somewhere around 4:30 to sleeping at somewhere around 8 o'clock. It's a way of life which we all used to practice. That is the reason why a way of life cannot be practiced with a regime, hardcore regime. So there cannot be any compromise in your way of life. At the same time, you cannot compare this way of life with another way of traditional techniques. So that is the reason why I would say exercise has to be done if you are having a short goal in period. Like I said, if you are into keto diet, it is good, but for a short term. Long term keto diet is not good. Similarly, long term exercise is actually not good. Long term yoga is always beneficial. Okay. So whether it is a weight loss or a weight gain, that is entirely different session. You can eat erratically and you can go and do erratic exercises. That's not the right way of living. Eating, doing your things, everything is a part of yoga. So once that sits in your mind, probably this question whether exercise is good or yoga is good for my weight loss will never come. So thinking on that sense, we are coming up with a lot of other yogic practices. Because of this question, I would like to introduce a lot of yoga manuals for you so that you are more aware of how you are actually practicing. It is not like I have to be there as a physical instructor for you to give you training, but it is more important that where you are focusing on. Whether I am there with you or I am there as an audio, you have to do the way you are supposed to do. So if you could do that, then probably majority of your problems will come down. Also, we'll be talking about, like I said in the previous video, the new interest for me is molecular genetics perspective through naturopathy and yoga, which talks about the entirety of this. So we'll probably not even have the question of disease as such, because it talks about fasting, it talks about utilization of chemicals, it talks about many things. But yes, before that we will be completing our geriatric medicine and alternative medicines, how they are together and what old people can actually get good out of our alternative medicine as such. So for such videos, keep subscribing and keep liking these videos. That encourages me to give more and more insights about naturopathy and yoga. If you want to feel or if you want to ask anything about it, you can obviously use the comment section, but you can always write down to dradityahandey@gmail.com. So share this opinion. Those who feel that yoga and weight loss are two different things, it can be done. Share among your friends and have a nice time having a good yogic way. Thank you.